You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Ha! People, the time has come for us to recognize what can only be described as the best damn cruiserweight title defense there ever was. And it happened because not Poot the Bard, not Ransom, and what brings the most smugness to my face is that, nope, not even the gladiator of the Royal Rumble statistics, Beef the Legend, walked away with the cruiserweight title, but our very own Tiger Bomb Tom has retained the cruiserweight championship, and nothing brings me more joy than seeing Beef's empty waist where a title belt should be. If you take anything away from this episode, take away the fact that you can rejoice in the knowledge that once again, he's sitting there with his stupid face, his dumb hair, and his Majin Buu pants, no title around his waist. It's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. We're hot off the heels of the Royal Rumble. Our illustrious champion will be with us shortly. Until then, you've got the three amigos, the trifecta of terrible, the dos tres of all up in your face. I can't rhyme anymore without sagging my pants a little bit. Yo, yo, yo. In any case, the Royal Rumble happened. I was ecstatic at the end, but I have some problems now that I think back on it. I got some issues and some complaints. There was also big happenings, apparently, last night as I was trying to sleep. Some dummy, sans title belt, was blowing my phone up with what unimpressive tent trouser he had, all about AEW. So don't worry, we're going to talk about that as well.
That was 10 p.m., folks. Ransom snuggled up in his bed at 10 p.m.
Dude, let me tell you this. I was so wiped out and drained yesterday. I was on the road all day traveling for work. I was in Ohio all freaking day. I got home and I fell asleep like 4 times between like 5 and 8 o'clock.
Bro, I feel that because I got home at 1.
Easy, Russo.
I got home at 1, had my lunch, played like 20 minutes of A Link to the Past, which I'm finally doing it. I'm actually committing to a playthrough. And after I did that, I was like, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to go lay down. So it was like 2 o'clock. I slept until 7:30.
Like I was saying, I fell asleep multiple times between like 5 and 8. And I had done zero work on my body all day long because traveling on the road all day. So 8 o'clock is when I decided that it was time for some cardio. And let me tell you, I thought I was going to pass out. That's why I was in bed at 10 o'clock last night. Oh, and plus some of us actually have to get up and, work during the day.
Well, and that's the thing, man, is that travel, like you think about it, you're sitting a lot, but still travel takes it out of you, man.
I was mentally drained. Physically, my body had done absolutely nothing other than sit and stew in its own filth.
Ah, yes, my documentary. So anyway, the Royal Rumble. Yeah, let's not bury the lead here, folks.
Folks.
And I think I said this last week. I don't remember. I say a lot of things. Like the last several years, I think that they really, really refined the art of the Royal Rumble. Pretty much since they introduced Women's Royal Rumble, I think that we've had consistently good winners across the board. Say what you will about Charlotte, I get it, and her winning was an eventuality anyway. So at least we got it out of the way,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh.
So, but that being said,
this reaction's the best. Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, what do you want? What do you want?
I mean,
no, I wasn't making fun of you. I was legit. Like you're your reaction to that statement was literally the best, because that probably was my reaction. Like, oh, Charlotte won. Well,
Yeah, okay.
all right, next match.
Yeah.
And now,
moving on.
now we're just and now we're just waiting for things to cycle through so she can win a second one. And I get it. That's fine. Whatever, it's Charlotte. But realistically, outside of her last year, I think that we've had a really good go of it, and this year was no exception. The matches themselves were sometimes a little dicey, but I mean, the winners I have no problem with whatsoever.
No, it was all around. It was real. I was very sports entertained, to coin a phrase. And with Charlotte, let me just. I'm not trying to tangent off too hard, but do you think Charlotte's going to be the first woman to win 3 times?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yep. It depends. I'll say this, because it seems like they do have their mind toward the future.
Sometimes.
At least with the women.
Well,
Yeah.
Charlotte, the thing is, we bag on Charlotte a lot because of her lot, because of who her dad is. But, dude, listen, all like, hardball aside, she puts in the reps, she puts in the time, and she does consistently keep getting better. She hasn't taken a step backwards, and she hasn't leveled off. You know what I mean? She does incrementally keep getting better. I know it's a hard pill to swallow if you're not a Charlotte fan, but like, it's true.
You're right. You're right. I always want to say you're not wrong, but that makes it sound like you're not right is more of a positive phrase. I'm trying to go that route. You are right.
Yeah.
She is consistently getting better. However, I feel like there are more women out there who are performing better than her, who look better than her in the ring, not physical beauty wise, performance wise. I feel like there are women who are better than her. I don't know.
It's hard because it's one of those things you don't. If she wasn't as good as she was, this would be a lot easier. We wouldn't even be having this little brief discussion. Like if she was like low tier performance in the ring, but man, she does a really good job. Her matches are entertaining as long as she has someone that can work with her, because we've seen it a couple times that like she's put on stinkers, but it was because of who she was with. I really believe that.
Well, okay. Well, again, I think you're right. However, I don't think you deserve to win the Royal Rumble 3 times until you're of the caliber of a Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Rock, where those guys could go into the ring and wrestle a broomstick and it would be entertaining. So until you can go in, this is my opinion, I feel like until you can go into a match with the absolute bottom of the barrel worst, have a great match, elevate them to where you're at, or at least not let them bring you down, I don't feel like you are the caliber enough to deserve that 3 Rumble wins.
Well, and we also need to realize that it's not.
Pissed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about the caliber in the ring. It's about their overall quality as an entertainer. I think that's why Michaels and Austin were pushed to the moon and really have high legends about them regarding this. And I think Edge fits right in there with his win on Sunday. But to kind of come back to the Charlotte thing real quick, and hopefully to kind of put a cap on it, because I'm done with Charlotte. But bottom line is, I think that the problem with her is not so much her presentation, her in-ring look, how she looks, period. It's about her being where she is because of who she is. If she wasn't a Flair, she wouldn't be there. So that's, neither here nor there. But I digress. This year's Royal Rumble, at the very end of the Women's Royal Rumble, saw Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair team up to throw out Charlotte, kind of coming around and bringing things back to last year. The whole Bianca Belair thing, promo in NXT, you don't even go here. It was neat that they were able to kind of weave that together, despite the comings and goings of all the women this year in this weird, fucked up, crazy year. But it was weird. It was cool that they brought it back together. And I really believe that Rhea should have won, but I'm 100% okay with Bianca winning. That's just my take on things.
I was very excited to see Bianca Belair win. I think I would have been happy with any fresh face. Someone who wasn't already as SmackDown or Raw Women's Champion, someone who wasn't already a Royal Rumble winner. To have a fresh face win it, I was happy.
Yeah, I agree. I just, I think that when we look at the bell curve of who's going to be over and when and how soon, I think that Rhea Ripley has the tools, the talent, and the look to do it now. I think that Bianca Belair, because of, and this is going to sound a little off, but because that Bianca Belair's character is very much in the vein of Sasha Banks and the Boss, I think that she's going to hit some roadblocks because of that. Now she makes it her own, and I love the EST of NXT. Well, I guess no longer of NXT, but the EST of WWE. She's awesome, and she's great at what she does. And I don't want to begrudge her for this win. I just think that Rhea Ripley is the now, that you invest in the now, and with an eye to the future, saying, okay, Bianca, maybe next year, maybe the year after, but your time is coming.
Yeah, but I think
regardless, both women will win probably multiple Rumbles if we're being honest.
Yeah, but I think that Rhea, there are two things. One's a question that I have, but the thing I want to say is I think that Rhea Ripley and the whole package of her character, her in-ring ability, everything, her age, everything, she has, in my opinion, and this is absolutely nothing against Bianca Belair, because she deserves to call herself the EST. She's incredible. But I feel like Rhea Ripley, the whole package has more legs to it, if you will. I feel like that might be why they're holding off on her. But why do you think, with as popular as Rhea Ripley is, how good she is, how polished she is, and how unique of a look she has, why are they not pulling the trigger on her? It seems like she constantly gets right to the cusp of a big push or a big victory or whatever, and she just never goes over. Why do you think they're not pulling the trigger on her right now?
Well, and realistically, I think that the first thing you said there, the age, believe it or not, Rhea Ripley's 24. Bianca Belair is 31. So Rhea Ripley, and even though it feels like that Rhea's been in the mainstream, as a main conduit of the women's division, at least in NXT for 3 years now, between NXT UK and NXT proper. So I mean, it feels like she's the seasoned vet, but realistically, yeah, I mean, Bianca's got 7 years on her. So I mean, realistically, she's probably the person that needs to have the trigger pulled now. Make the hay while the sun is shining. As you mentioned, Poot, Rhea, with everything that she has put together, she can literally be dropped in a fucking fishbowl and get a giant pop. Rhea is Rhea, and she's great at everything she does. And she's young, and in theory, it has a long way to go in the business. I think that they're smart by saying, okay, you know what? Bianca, you're doing great right now. And not that Rhea's not, but that they're probably going to have more time with Rhea than they will with Bianca.
Agreed. Well, I still, congratulations to Bianca Belair, because I can't wait to see what she does. I'm very excited. Now, staying within the context of the Rumble, if you don't mind me pushing forward here, men's Rumble match was outstanding. It was outstanding. I enjoyed every second of it, and it was interesting. And even looking back in it, like within the context and looking at the match as a whole after the fact, the thing with Randy Orton, I'm like, man, yeah, I get it. Like they've pulled that before. Like it's fine. It's kind of old hat, the like injury and then coming back later. And they played their cards right on the event as a whole. WWE finally played their cards right. They did, in my opinion, pretty much everything correctly. And the men's Rumble match, the big thing for me, and obviously there's a bunch of things to talk about, but the one that really got me was friggin' Carlito coming back and looking like a jacked monster. Holy crap. He looks like $10,000. He looks great. It was incredible.
Yeah, man.
Like,
oh, it looks like he's definitely bulked up and not bulked up in the cheeseburger way.
No, like he looks so much better, because I remember it was years ago. It was after his release, and he had gone, I think, and worked some indies and stuff, but he fell off the radar. There was an interview some guy was doing with him. Like it was like for a YouTube channel, like a wrestling YouTube channel, like a smaller one. And they ran into him at like a bodega and like we're talking to him, and he looked awful. He looked like tired and out of shape and like just worn. And they were just chatting with him. It was like someone with a handheld camera asking him questions. And it was like, oh, Carlito. And then just to see him from out of nowhere come back looking like just all the money and having him not miss a step, it was awesome. That was one big highlight for me.
Yeah, I feel like it rings true when, speaking of Carlito, saying, regardless of how old he is now, you know, maybe he's not in his prime age bracket anymore, but he looks better than ever. It bugs me when announcers say that about old men wrestlers that come back. I can't tell you how many times I've heard Cole say, hey, The Undertaker looks better than ever. Nope, sure doesn't. But he says it anyway. But I feel like it really rings true with Carlito now. He looked chiseled. He looked buff. He did not look winded at all in this Rumble. Anytime I saw him, now granted, there was a lot going on, so maybe he had a lot of time to rest. I don't know. But he didn't look winded. He didn't look run down, worn down. I mean, he really did look like he was on the top of his game. So I feel like he has done a lot to, you know, build up his endurance. He's definitely looks like he's done a lot to build up his strength. Good Lord. It was really good to see Carlito come back and look freaking amazing.
So,
Go
right.
on.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the Danny Downer here.
Here we go.
I think that wrestling is fun. The gags are great, and the bits are good until they catch up on themselves. Once they start understanding that they're a bit, and then they try to be a bit, it becomes forced and horrid. That said, I'm worried that may be the case with the Royal Rumble and the surprise entrance. So previously, we'd have 3, 2, 4, maybe 5 surprise entrants. This year's Royal Rumble between the men and the women's had a 19 surprise entrants. Out of 60, so that's damn near a third of the field was surprise entrants. So that being said, they even made a point of it on the pre-show where they were like, we've never had this few competitors, you know, qualified for the Royal Rumble. This is going to be awesome. Like, kind of pointing to the fact, like, hey, we're going to have some surprises. But then whenever you lean on the surprises, like Carlito was a great one for sure, 110%. Victoria was awesome, 100,000,000%. But then you get a guy like the Hurricane.
Yep, could have done without that.
And it was just
But then
like
you get a guy. And to be fair, I no disrespect to the body of work, but then you get a guy like Kane, who's the freaking mayor of Knox County. Like, I understand, and again, that's a bit. Kane being in the Royal Rumble has become a bit, and now it's onto itself, and is no longer, in my mind, entertaining as it is just shtick for the sake of being shtick.
Well, and Kane looked rough too.
Yep,
He looked rough. He was no offense to Glenn Jacobs. Like you said, we love him, but like he had that pooch going on. He had that little paunch.
Alicia Fox, let's not forget her. Jillian. I mean, it was cool to see Jillian. It's been a hot minute, but you know, I even have a little bit of a problem with Christian because the dude kind of went out on his own terms, and I get that the Royal Rumble is not like, hey, I'm coming back forever, but like, I don't know, man. Like, you're there because your buddy is winning from the number one spot, your best friend in the world, and you get to share that moment with him. It was very clear to me that was what was happening. So, like, Seth was a good surprise. I like seeing him come back, and it was a good spot for him. I wish they would have done more with him.
Should have gone back to the burn it down, like you said.
Yes, he should have. Yep, instead of doing a stupid Monday, Friday, every night Messiah, they burn it down and have the fucking, the fake ass crowd pop real hard, and no, they didn't. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a crotchety old man. I'm in my old age. I don't know, but I just like I'm not saying I'm over it, but I think if they're going to continue to execute them, they need to be worthwhile surprises, not like, oh well, they're so and so.
So.
No, go ahead. Nice
loudness. So I'm gonna kind of go along this vein of crotchety old men here, and I'm gonna get my crotchety old man moment in.
Yeah, man.
So
do it.
I'm not going to make any ifs, ands, or buts about it. When Edge won the Royal Rumble, I was out of my chair, jumping around like I was a kid. Just ecstatic, just jumping around. It was freaking. Tom and I were out of our seats. Good times, good stuff, good shit. When I calm down a bit and I take a step back and I look at it from a higher elevation, I've complained before about legends / part-timers / old men coming back and taking spots from younger guys. I've been very adamant about that. And I feel like on principle, I need to stick with my guns. Edge coming in at number 1, coming back at the Rumble, great. Having had time to reflect on it, this is me, and I'm sure plenty of people, everybody else on this podcast, I'm sure will disagree. But goodness, the COVID, being able to zoom out and kind of look at it from a higher elevation, I'm going to stick with my guns of what I have harped on and preached and bitched about before. I don't think that Edge should have won. Because, I don't know, part of me feels like that spot should have been reserved for a younger guy, a guy that has a long run ahead of him. Not to say that Edge is going to be a one and done, but let's face it, he's had his share of injuries. He's a Hall of Famer already. He's a legend already. Did he need that Rumble win? Okay, he's never won the Rumble before. Fine.
False.
Okay, he's won the Royal Rumble before. I apologize. So did he need that Rumble win? I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted in my admiration and love for him as a wrestler, and my principles of the old men, the legends, the Hall of Famers, regardless of age, should not be coming back and taking the highest of high spots away from someone who is there on a weekly basis that they can build up and build off of and cultivate into a future champion. Now, I know if I'm going to look at it as far as like Mania goes, like, okay, say he faces Roman Reigns. Is that what he's going to do?
I mean, well, actually,
I don't
that's going to
know.
be that was going to
that
be.
wasn't announced yet?
Well, no,
No.
that was going to be to my refute point. Which, do you mind if I throw it in right here?
You go ahead, because I have my own refutation as well. So you go first. I almost called you your full name. Go ahead, Poot.
So initially, Ransom, I was right there with you. I was super excited. The finish was really exciting and good, and you could see the genuine joy from Edge when he won.
Oh yeah.
And just like you, I wasn't jumping out of my seat, but I was like, I was so thrilled because, like, much like whenever Daniel Bryan came back and he announced that he could wrestle again, when Edge came back last year and then this year having him win it, I was like, man, it's the Cinderella story. You know, like it was that. But the thing that they're doing, and the reason why I'm not, after the fact, once the honeymoon period was over, completely agreeing with you, is simply because they had Edge this past Wednesday. They had him on NXT, and he came out whenever Balor and Pete Dunne were in the ring, jawing at each other about their match. Edge came out, and he basically said, this place has gave me the fire. It gave me the incentive to come back watching NXT. And he came out and he said to them, he basically said, I don't know, maybe I'll challenge whoever wins here. And then that made me go, holy shit, that is creative. Having a legend, and you might be thinking, well, why would you do that in NXT? Those are even newer guys that they're trying to develop. But having Edge there and Edge going, these are the guys I want to compete against. These are the guys I want to test my mettle against, my talent, my knowledge, my ability, because these are the best. You know what I mean? So it's kind of giving credit to the talent that is there. And he even lauded Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. And it really did, having that blessing of a legend, of a Hall of Famer, of someone who has seen and done so much and made so much history as Edge, to want to be there and want that title. And then later on in the show, they kind of alluded to him and Karrion Kross, with Karrion Kross kind of confronting Edge and saying, you're not going to be challenging Balor. You're not going to be challenging Pete Dunne. You're going to be challenging me, because that is my belt. I never lost it. So you're setting up any three of those guys with Edge would make an amazing match. In my opinion, the top of which would be Finn Balor, because he can work around Edge's limitations that he has, not just from his age, but from his fused neck. I feel like Balor would be the most capable of the three. Not that the other two aren't, but I feel like Balor would be the one to really make the match something special and add a level of performance and quality and polish that it could be. So they're kind of keeping, it seems, they're keeping Edge away from the Universal title and the WWE title picture and using it to bolster NXT. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So,
look, I agree with you there. I want to just get this point out here real quick, Beef. I wanted to make this earlier in my rant, but I agree with everything you said there. Again, Poot, not kissing ass or anything tonight, but you're making great points that I can't really disagree with. However, how many times has, like, say, the runner-up, the next to last person, come out and challenged another champion saying, hey, the winner of the Royal Rumble has made his choice. I was the second last man standing. I almost did it. So I have some clout now to make my challenge. That's happened frequently in the past. Is that not something that could have happened in this Rumble? Could a younger guy have not have won it and challenged for either the WWE or the Universal title Edge still could have gone to NXT and gone, hey, you gave me the fire, you gave me the desire to come back, I came back, I damn near did it. But since so-and-so is going to be challenging Who's-He What's-Its for their title, as the runner-up of the Royal Rumble, I'm going to officially show up here and issue my challenge on NXT. I feel like that could have still been done without taking away a Rumble win from someone who, by all intents and purposes, hasn't already done it all.
So, okay, a couple things. First and foremost, Poot's right. Somebody, and I forget who it was. I read so much fucking wrestling shit. It just all blurs together. But somebody, I believe a legend in the business, tweeted out, that's how you put 3 guys over without taking a bump, referring to Edge and NXT last night.
Yep.
And he came out on Raw, and he said, oh, Drew, I might take your title. And I'm sure he's going to come out on SmackDown and be like, hey, you know what, Roman? Eyes in the back of your head, man. They're going to do it. This is what they do. They tease it just like they did with Charlotte last year. They'll tease it for a while until they actually make their decision. And maybe they don't have a decision made. I don't know. But it makes for good television. Does Edge need to win? It's a wonderful question. Let me throw out some names of guys who have won one Royal Rumble. Jim Duggan, John Studd, Yokozuna, Lex Luger, Mr. McMahon, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, McIntyre. Good names. That's a very reputable list. Let me read the names of the people who have won 2+ Rumbles. Hogan, Michaels, Austin, Triple H, Cena, Orton, Batista, and Edge. So that second list I gave you is a who's who of wrestling. It is, I think the people that I just listed would be contained on most people's wrestling Mount Rushmores. So that being said, the difference between winning 1 Royal Rumble and 2, I think goes without saying. You win a second Royal Rumble, you are forever etched in history as one of the greatest of all time. And I 100% do believe that Edge does deserve it. So, as much as I would love them to see him versus the NXT champion, I don't think that's going to happen, and that's okay. I'm all for them teasing it until March or so, until he actually makes his decision. It's probably going to be Roman. It may be McIntyre, but it's probably going to be Roman. As far as a young up-and-comer winning this year, Ransom, I look at the list of guys in there, and nothing jumps out at me. Maybe Big E, but you know what? Like he's in the Intercontinental Championship chase. Damian Priest would have been neat because it was his first time on the main roster. That would have been interesting. Daniel Bryan, I think, could have served well. Maybe AJ Styles, but that's it. There aren't a lot of other talents I look at on the people who were in the Rumble and go, oh, they definitely should have won. So at this point, at this particular moment in history, I think it was Edge's time. And I'm right there with you, brother. Like, I believe that them putting these old men over the young guys is going to be a big problem down the line. But in this particular instance, I think the guy who won was going to be a legacy guy anyway. Your Daniel Bryans, your AJ Styles, or your Edges. I don't think that it was ever going to be, a young upstart. So I have no problem with this. And like I said, to me, this just moves into the next highest echelon of legends, and which is right where he belongs to be. Plus, let's not forget that he lost several years of his career as an active competitor due to injury. And he had to retire way earlier than he should have. So when you throw all of that into the blender, I think that this mixes well and is a perfect time to to bring Edge off the shelf and give him the honor.
So, all right, going off of that, I'm not gonna get into an argument here because you also made very salient points that I really can't logically argue with. Are you anticipating, hoping for, seeing what? So let's take what we hope out of the mix,
Okay.
and what we anticipate as being best for business, and put that in the mix. Is it best for business for Edge to win the title from whoever he faces? Or is it best for business for Edge to do the favor for any of the three, let's say, younger guys who currently hold their belt? What's best for business in this scenario?
Well, and I think we need to define that.
That's
is best
tough.
for business the now, or is best for business the long term? If we're talking, because realistically, again, WrestleMania is going to be, and I just read something that said that WWE is not expecting another ticketed event until the second half of 2021. So, like, WrestleMania is the big one, man. Like, they're putting butts in seats. They're gonna have probably 2,000-3,000 people, maybe more. 20,000 to 30,000. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know the numbers. Anyway, they're gonna have a lot of people there, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be electric. It's gonna be exciting. So, best for business now, yeah, I think is Edge winning the title, having those people come unglued to see, a guy who, again, with all fairness, really kind of traded the title back and forth to Cena a lot. And he had a couple decent runs as world champion, but as WWE champion, it was really like back and forth with him and Cena a bit. So I best for business, I think in the short term, yeah. Give him the belt, give the people. You got to give the people what they want. Long term, I don't think it hurts McIntyre to lose the title to Edge. I think it would hurt Roman if we're being completely honest.
Yeah,
and I think the Balor and Edge. I think if Edge edges out Balor, assuming Balor still has it, I think that would be an interesting proposal. I think that'd be okay too.
I think if Balor beat Edge, it wouldn't do. I don't think it would really give Balor that much of a bump in his
agreed.
legitimacy. It would give him a little bit. It's like, oh, Balor beat a legend, but he's done so much and people know how good he is. To have him win wouldn't really give him that big of a bump. The only way you could do is if they wanted to push Balor really as a heel, he could brutalize Edge, him and say, play it off like it was no challenge for me to beat up an old man, an old hurt man. He could do that if they really wanted to heal Balor up. So that way could be good if he won, and I think that would give him a more sizable bump. But having him lose to Edge wouldn't be that big of a deal, because I think it would give a huge rub to Karrion Kross if Karrion Kross beat Edge. Like, have Edge take Balor to the limit, have Edge win that belt, and it'd be like, I beat one of the best young talents. Have Karrion Kross come out and wipe the floor with him.
I wish there was a Money in the Bank or equivalent for NXT where that could happen, where Edge would beat Balor in a classic, and then have Karrion Kross come out immediately afterwards and just smear him all over the ring, and that be that.
Not even after the match. Like, have it be a completely separate thing. Like, have it be like Edge and him build for a couple weeks, have them, get one up on each other, but then have Karrion Kross just come out and wreck shop. 3 minutes. Wreck shop. Completely ruin Edge. And just to show how good Karrion Kross is. Because not only then did he beat a legend for the belt, And not only did he make it look easy, but in theory then, it made him look more dominant than Balor.
And it's unfortunate because Vince does not view NXT as a third brand. The only reason it got a rub at all last year in the Royal Rumble at Survivor Series is because of it being competition for AEW. AEW has roundly beaten them in ratings every single week, week in, week out. And most weeks it's by a couple 100,000. So Vince has cooled on that. Vince doesn't view NXT as a legit third brand like he views Raw and SmackDown. So I don't think we're going to be seeing, and I could be wrong, but I as much as I'd love to see it, I don't think we're going to see it. I think it's going to be between Big Red and Big Blue, and I really am leaning towards Roman Reigns. So getting to the back half of Ransom's question, best for business, if we're talking long term, Edge beating Reigns at WrestleMania in the long term, 100% is a terrible idea.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's built up, Reigns that is, has built up such annuity, really, in himself and in the character of the head of the table. He's become a believable heel, a badass heel who doesn't like to get his hands dirty, but when he needs to get his hands dirty, he gets his hands dirty. And you know, I just don't think Edge is the guy to beat them, you know?
Well, I think it's also the fact that, like, how long, and let's point this out, I don't think we've said this enough. Seriously, how long have we all been saying, and when I say all, I mean literally wrestling fandom. Seriously, how long have we been saying just turn Roman heel, it'll be amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And lo and behold, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I you know.
Oh, yeah.
I like, it's, I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. I think it's phenomenal. And I think they know, especially with Paul Heyman being with him, I think they know how much they have lightning in a bottle right now. I do. I really do. I feel like they know what's going on. They know, like, they just know. They just know what they have, and they don't want to ruin it. So I don't think Roman's going to lose. I don't think Edge is going to challenge Roman. And I don't think, even if he did challenge Roman, I don't think they're going to have Roman lose.
I do think he'll challenge Roman, but I don't think he's going to win. I think that this will be one of those rare years where the Rumble winner will not convert said win into a title.
Really?
Well, look, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I don't have any speculation on what's going to happen, but I agree that I think it would be a massive disservice to Roman Reigns to have him lose to Edge. And just like you said, we've been clamoring for such a long time for a Roman Reigns heel turn, just as much as I think people had clamored for a John Cena heel turn, and they never got it. We never got the John Cena heel turn. They teased it a few times. We never got it. Now they did it with Roman Reigns, and honestly, completely objective opinion here. Is that the right word?
Yep.
Yeah.
Non-objective, objective? Whichever one. I could complain all day until I'm blue in the face about superhero, good guy, Roman Reigns. Oh, so sick of him. I really and truly have zero complaints about heel Roman Reigns. I think what they're doing with him is spot on.
Yep.
I have zero issues with it. And I think short-term and long-term, when it comes to Roman Reigns, I think having him lose to Edge is bad. Even short-term, I think it's bad because spending all this time building up the heel Roman Reigns, if he loses to Edge, I truly believe, even if he wins it back at the next pay-per-view, network special, whatever they call them these days, even if he wins it right back, I still feel like it's almost pushing that reset button on Roman Reigns. Like, you have taken all your opponents to the limit. All these young guys who are in their prime, taking them all to the limit. You lose to Edge. Again, nothing against Edge. He looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
The dude is cut. But you have him lose to Edge, even if he wins it back a month later. I feel like you're almost pushing that reset button, and you're going to have to start building him up as a legitimate badass, head of the table, bad guy. It's not. I don't think it's going to go well if they have Roman lose to Edge. I think it would do a lot for Roman to have him win against Edge. Edge giving Roman Reigns that rub, I think that does a lot. That's just another notch under the belt of Roman Reigns where he can say, hey, not only did I beat a legend, not only did I beat a Hall of Famer, I beat one of those few who have 2+ Rumble wins. There's a lot of bragging rights that you can give to Roman Reigns for having him beat Edge. Now, McIntyre, I don't know. I don't, at this point, I don't know what helps or hurts Drew McIntyre. I don't know if anything can help or hurt him. I feel like he's in that position to where it's like, all right, no matter who he beats, who cares? If he loses, who cares?
Here's the thing with McIntyre. I think they should not have had him lose that belt to Randy Orton only to win it back like 3 weeks later. I think that was a huge misstep. Had that not happened, I would say that McIntyre could probably eat a pin from Edge. But given that it has happened, I don't think that would look good. Realistically, the only one that I'm buying Edge beaten is Balor, and that's after like a 25-minute classic match, like where they've exhausted everything, and like Edge has to pull out like the downward spiral or some shit out of or the execution, like. You know, the leg lock he uses, basically something like out of left field, or even like a fucking small package. You know, something that neither of them, showing that they are both game competitors, and that it just caught them by that much.
Yeah, not the typical like spear 1, 2, 3 win.
Great, exactly. So realistically, that's the only way I can see that going. I do think that this is. Yeah, it's such a weird time because we know that it's going to be a crowd at WrestleMania. We know that they're going to want to have that crowd hot. And we know that Edge winning is going to do that. But at the same time, if you have him lose, you cannot, I don't care if it's on night 1 or night 2, you can't have Edge losing close the show. So then you put that either bury it in the middle of the card or have it start the card off by him losing, which would be fine, but then you're, basically doing what they were doing with the Rumble like 5 years ago and saying that, oh yeah, you won the Rumble, great job, but you don't get the main event at WrestleMania. You're going to be in the middle of the card or at the beginning of the card, So
the Rumble win should be what closes off the entire show. If it's 2 nights, it should be closing out night 2. Like, it should be the be-all, end-all main event.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. Honestly, I think it depends because, like I said, in this situation, with Edge winning, I think it's kind of where your point lies. Realistically, Ransom, is that they're kind of in a Mexican standoff with themselves now, or is that politically incorrect? They're kind of in a standoff.
As WWE is wont to do.
Like, because now, yes, they either have Edge win and have one of your current champions that probably doesn't need to look weaker, or you have Edge lose and you devalue the Rumble, or if it's at the end of the show, you send the fans at the first the first like ticketed event that you've had in over a year, you send the fans home on a sour note, or you put it in the middle / beginning of the card and you devalue the Rumble win. So, I mean, it's almost kind of a lose-lose-lose. Realistically, I've said it like 9 times, I'm sorry. Probably the best way to go would be to have him face Balor and just narrowly defeat him. Just by the fucking, like, a counter, as they say.
Counter.
Just barely. I think that's the best way to go.
So I have to maybe try to throw a wrench in that plan here, Beef. Just going kind of off of what you had said previously, where Vince doesn't see NXT as a third brand.
Mm-hmm.
Is Vince going to make that decision to say, okay, this dude won the Royal Rumble. This is going to be the main event. Like, this guy gets to pick his champion that he faces, my Royal Rumble winner. If there are no NXT matches at Mania, are they going to have the Royal Rumble winner choose to face the NXT champion at WrestleMania when Vince clearly doesn't see NXT as a third brand? He sees it as an inferior brand to Big Red and Big Blue. Like, is he going to put the gold brand belt in one of the main event matches at his flagship pay-per-view, the show of shows?
Very doubtful. It's very doubtful.
Like, I feel like after all we have said, that it's illogical to go down the path of Vince is going to say Edge, the Hall of Famer, the two-time Rumble winner, the legend, the man who has made his miraculous, glorious return, Shawn Michaels 2.0, coming back from a career-ending injury, is going to put what is likely his last Royal Rumble win in the boat of facing the NXT champion at WrestleMania. I would be stymied if he allowed that to happen. Would in our minds, is that best for business? Yeah. But in the old man's mind, where Big Red and Big Blue rule the roost, is that legitimately, realistically going to happen? I struggle to find that scenario where that happens.
So,
what are you scritching over there? I hear scratching.
No, I'm putting some lotion on my hand.
Fanny.
It rubs the lotion on his skin.
Or else it gets the mania again.
I believe that Edge is probably going to win one of the two big titles of WrestleMania. Best case scenario, I think he wins the WWE title from McIntyre.
Yep,
McIntyre is at least a little bit of an easier climb back. You're right though. If he beats Reigns for the Universal title, it's over. Like, Reigns will have to start from square fucking one and build his brand back up.
Just feel like it delegitimizes him as the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And I think so. The story. I'm not gonna quite close the book on Vince McMahon and NXT just yet, because new shit has come to light. Pivoting ever so slightly, but ever so gloriously,
if you will.
The business is starting to pick up, in the words of Jim Ross.
Yo.
So
big news.
Last night, at the end of AEW Beach Blast, Beach Break, Beach Blast,
Beach Break Blast. Mountain Dew flavor, Beach Blast.
I have to stop you. Put your memory pin in your speech, because the beers, nope, that's me, the best damn defending cruiserweight champ there ever was, the man who has vanquished the dragon that is Beef the Legend of the Royal Rumble. He's arrived. Tiger Bomb Tom still has that glorious CDG jibber jibble jabber. Try again. Still has that CGD belt around his waist. The man who has single-handedly been responsible for Beef going to bed Royal Rumble night, having nothing to clutch but his own regret. Ladies and gentlemen, the champ is here.
Thank you for that wonderful intro.
How's that for an intro?
That is the best best damn advocate ever, Alec Ransom. Thank you for that, for livening my spirits. It only
better
took...
advocate than I am a champion, damn it.
I'll tell you what, literally, I sent the message right before I came in, and I said, please liven my spirits, and you managed to do that in 30 seconds.
I want
you.
it noted, though, that you won effectively on a double countout.
Listen, Poot.
I want that noted.
I'm gonna tell you the same thing you told me whenever I said, yeah, you know what? I tied you. Said, well, you swung for the fences, but you came up just a little bit too short. Try again next time.
I didn't say those words to you. I said a win is a win, whether an inch or a mile. Get your facts together, champ.
Well,
maybe win by a better margin next time, champ. Also, well, you're not getting that compliment now. I was going to say congratulations, champ. That was a feat because both.
But you still said it.
Beef was.
You still said it.
Ransom and smaller, thinner Ransom are really getting on our case tonight. Tom, honestly, that was a win because you caught, the end of that Rumble was the thing that clinched it for you.
It really did. That was the only thing that saved me was those final fours.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, that effectively pulled my ass out of the fucking effectively. Listen, I'm flustered. I'm coming in with lots of salt. It was such a good day until about 45 minutes ago, and I'm coming in with all the salt all coming in at once. It wasn't like anything throughout the day. It's just all at once.
Well,
and I'm trying to zen myself out. So
yeah, man.
Anyway.
Well, good things are on the horizon.
They are.
I pivot and I continue undeterred. But yes, welcome and congratulations, champ. Big news, big things are on the horizon. At the end of AEW Dynamite last night, we saw a wonderful 6-man tag match featuring Jon Moxley, the Bastard, Pac, and Phoenix versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. Great match, awesome finish. And at the end, an assailant came from the crowd and took down Jon Moxley with a go-to-sleep. That assailant being none other than Kenta. Kenta, whom some of you may know as Hideo Itami from NXT, has returned to his Japanese roots and signed with New Japan a couple of years ago. I say this because, as reported by Pappy Dave, Uncle Dave?
Uncle Dave? What?
The Dave
Uncle
Meltzer.
Pappy Dave.
Dave Meltzer. He is saying that the deal is done, that AEW and New Japan are in bed, which is absolutely the best thing I've heard. So,
hey guys, let's do we need yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Rabble.
I
have
think.
to ask you, Beef, real quick before you keep going. How many does that make now? Who is all in collabs now with AEW?
Tony Khan continues to collect the Infinity Stones for the gauntlet that he's making, as he has NWA with the usage of their women's champion, formerly Thunder Rosa. Now, oh god, I'm blanking on her name. Oh shit! No,
she's still Thunder Rosa.
No.
What
are you talking about?
The NWA champion?
Serena Deeb.
Serena Deeb, thank you.
Good job.
No. I thought you meant formerly as a name change. It's
no,
Thunder Rosa. I was like, what?
So they work with NWA with those folks, and also Ricky Starks. But he's officially in AEW now.
Ricky Starks has been officially signed with AEW for a while.
But he came from
right.
NWA.
Oh no, yeah, he did.
So there's that. AAA, which they've had affiliations with since the brand started. Kenny Omega has been the AAA Grand Champion for some time, and they've actually defended the Pentagon and Phoenix actually defended the AAA Tag Team titles at one of the events for AEW a while back.
That was actually one of the first. That was actually All Out, their very first one.
All Out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And then we have
wasn't it the Escalera de la Muerta?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure was. That was a great match too. Then we have Impact, obviously, still going with our buddy Don Callis. And now I think the true gem in the cap, and I think that this is the one that everybody's been waiting on, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, dude.
So that's 5, right? That's 5?
Including AEW, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's. So first and foremost, this is one of those things where it feels like the paperwork's got to go through, and we're gonna be waiting because obviously, getting talents from Japan to America and from America to Japan is still kind of dicey right now. Hopefully, that's going to be changing in the coming months. But bottom line is, according to Dave Meltzer, there's a deal in place. Obviously, Kenta appearing last night, and he's in the main event next week with Kenny Omega, tagging with Kenny Omega against Moxley and
Pac? Yeah, I think it's Pac.
No, Archer. It's Archer.
Yeah. Because Archer came out and did the jiggery pokery.
Yep. So
jiggery pokery,
and the whole time, like Tama Tonga has been running his Twitter mouth for about 3 months now, talking about how lame this Bullet Club revival is, talking about how they're not the true Bullet Club, and everything else. I am excited whenever the Tongans show up in AEW because they're gonna really stir some shit.
There's so much. There's so much. Like, there's so much fantasy booking that is. Yep. Here's the thing: it's fantasy booking because it hasn't happened yet. But we could sit here and just throw out bookings that have strong odds of actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And another New Japan news, they actually signed a television deal to the Roku channel. If you have Roku, they have a weekly show now. And somebody commented today and said that they saw the Kenta beatdown of Moxley on New Japan World last night. So yeah, it is.
Wow.
Things are afoot, and that, sir, is why I think Vinnie Mac may start to really look at NXT again and think of maybe if they're, maybe if they do deserve a shot at the big time again, because last night's ratings are in, and AEW had like 880,000, NXT had about 640. AEW is continuing to climb that mountain, man, and I'm telling you, if with NJPW in the fold, or the hints of it, just the fact that, oh God, could the Guerrillas of Destiny show up? Could, Ibushi show up? Could Okada show up? Could fucking Shingo? God. Could Minoru motherfucking Suzuki show up? Who knows? Like, with all of that hanging over it, already layering on the fact that they have Sting, and they're giving him a big match coming up at the next pay-per-view. Already on top of the fact that they have the two best tag teams on the planet, and FTR and the Young Bucks. Now you bring in the Good Brothers from Impact, on top of having the best wrestler in the world, Kenny Omega, and probably the hottest commodity in Jon Moxley. I mean, this is a big fucking deal. And I gotta believe that whenever that shit went down last night, that Vinnie Mac and friends were probably rewriting some scripts.
Dude, the thing is, I don't know if WWE has the ability and the credibility anymore to compete with a tour de force, a coalition, a cabal of the other top wrestling organizations putting their powers together to create interesting, fun, unique, and amazing matches and storylines. Especially, they're not gonna. I don't see them ever coming together into one organization formally, but it's definitely like now randomly you could see Pac going over to New Japan. You could see Moose come over to AEW. you could see, like, it just goes on and on and on and
The
on.
possibilities are damn near endless.
Oh yeah.
Especially if Pac or Pac versus Will Ospreay.
Oh man.
Like, come on, like that's
Pac versus Ibushi.
dude. What did you say? Beef Moxley versus Suzuki.
Or Lance Archer versus Minoru Suzuki. Like, fucking pallet that son of a bitch. Shingo Takagi versus Lance Archer. Like, there are so many.
Dude,
so many.
And weren't they also saying that Kenta has the ability to challenge or whatever? He's challenging. Jon Moxley has the United States title still over in NJW or in New Japan, right?
And that's why Kenta, they pointed that out. They said Kenta is the one with the briefcase. He's the one to challenge. You know what I mean? Like, so
here's the one thing that would have that now unfortunately I had it spoiled for me because of damn social media beforehand, but like, you know, knowing that something big would happen last night, like all I saw while I was streaming last night, I saw the messenger bubble and I saw Beef say, holy fuck, the end of AEW, holy fuck. I'm like, oh boy. So, you know, I knew we were in for something special, but
my guess was the Macho Man was coming back to face Sting.
The ghost of Macho Man.
Abdullah the Butcher was coming back.
That's your billionaire Ted booking right there, brother.
But no, the only thing this is like absolute like nonsensical nitpicking. The only thing that they could have done better was have Kenta hit the go to sleep before he unmasked himself to like kind of build the suspense. And like maybe you thought like once he hit the go to sleep, maybe you would have thought like, oh my god, is this CM Punk? Is it Kenta? Which one is it?
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Boy.
Like that's my only like constructive criticism. But I mean, like, I'm not saying it was bad at all. I'm just saying like you're taking something at like an A and making it an A++. You know what I mean? Like that would have been awesome.
The thing that I'll throw out, the one thing I did notice since we're throwing out little nitpicky stuff, Kenta threw out the go to sleep. And first of all, I want to buy that shirt. I want to buy the go to sleep club shirt. I want that.
Yep.
Second of all, the go to sleep, when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that was sloppy. But then I watched it again and I looked at it and people were saying, oh, Kenta's not tall enough to pull that kind of stuff. Kenta's not that. I don't think it was Kenta's fault that it wasn't the cleanest GTS ever. I think that was Moxley's bad.
Yeah, I think whoever's receiving it has got to, you know, be able to.
You got to commit to it. Like,
and Moxley had just been through a 30-minute match.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the worst go to sleeps I've ever seen was in the one Royal Rumble where Triple H took it from Punk. Like, it just looked like the drizzlingest of shits, and I'm like, come on, H.
There was one, I can't, and I want to say it was within recent memory, like within the last year or so, and I think I don't remember if it was WWE or AEW, but one of the female wrestlers went to hit a go to sleep, and it just looked bad.
Dakota Kai.
Yeah, you go.
Ooh. Yeah. She hit it. She went to hit it on somebody, and it was that way too. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited for this partnership. Like, I mean, we already knew that, like because Jon Moxley is the United States champ over there in New Japan. Did he lose it and regain it back, or has he had it?
He was stripped of it because. Back whenever all the wrestlers were trapped in Saudi Arabia, he had a commitment that same time, like that. I think it was like a 2-week thing or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, he was stuck in the United States and couldn't defend it, so they stripped him of it. But they let him keep it during the pandemic. I don't know. New Japan, it's weird.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey,
I
have a serious question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. So. Going off of all of this, I guess it's a two-parter, really.
All right.
First one is, do you think that this is enough to make Vince and the powers that be, Bruce Pritchard and whoever else is back there jerking off the old man?
Giggity.
Gross.
Is this enough to make Vince finally go, uh-oh, Oh dear. I either have to elevate NXT to a legit third brand, or I got to start getting involved in other promotions potentially to be that bandwagon jumper and jump on board the crossover bandwagon.
I think
so that's part one.
Oh, sorry.
He's
One.
not finished.
All right, shut up,
I'm
champ.
not finished. I'm going to pull a beef. I'm not finished. Part two
Love you, Tom.
is
Love you too.
if Vince sits up and goes, "Uh-oh, I got to start bandwagon jumping here." If that happens, do you think Vince goes after a deal with Ring of Honor, or do you think Tony Khan goes for the completion of the Infinity Gauntlet and tries to swing a deal with Ring of Honor as well to snag them up into this? And I love the way that Pooch said it, this cabal of promotions that are interweaving with each other.
All right, let me go first.
Ready, steady, go.
Let me go first because I feel like my answer is going to be the shortest. No,
Well, really.
I don't think it will make Vince go ruh-roh raggy. I think because his arrogance knows no bounds. I truly in your arrogance. I really believe that. I really believe that his arrogance knows absolutely no bounds. So I really don't. I don't think it's going to make a difference to Vince at all. And number two, I think because of the roster and because there's so many personal relationships already there between AEW and Raw, I honestly think that and the reputation of WWE and how they've treated talents is so poor. I mean, just look at Solomon Crow. Way. I think there's enough there that Raw would want to work with AEW more so than WWE. So I think the Infinity Gauntlet will get completed, and I think Vince McMahon will stand there and go, "We're WWE. We can't be defeated," in his arrogance.
I gotta agree with Poot on that, and I don't know if it's I'm gonna say it's like 80-20. It's 80% arrogance and 20% stubbornness, or just thinking like, well, you know what, we've been doing it for this long, and we must be doing something right because we're still the freaking global name when it comes to pro wrestling. I think it's one of those things that they're going to be stuck in their ways, for better or for worse. I hope it's enough of a wake up call for Vince to go like, all right, like we might need to do something, but call it arrogance or calling it just, stay in the course they've been doing it for, how long. I don't know that Vince is going to feel like he needs to hit the panic button. And it very well could come back to bite him in the ass. So, I mean, like, you obviously don't want to be knee jerky. But at the same time, you really have to be mindful of what's going on around you. And if Tony Khan and AEW are doing all these cross promotion relations and stuff like that, and really just doing the best thing for fans, giving them all these fantasy bookings and working it in a way that still makes business sense, then I mean you got to look at what you're doing and saying, okay, like, how can we do as well, if not better than this? What do we need to do to better ourselves? Because you should never settle. You should always be striving to do more, and not in the sense that you're your own worst. Yeah, strive for the highest. You shouldn't. I mean, like, you shouldn't be so self-critical. Shouldn't be so self-critical that you're crippling yourself. But you should always push yourself. And I hope Vince and company push themselves, and if they should really, honestly, they should take kind of like an in-house thing and be like, okay, what's your biggest complaint? What that's the talent. Like, what do you think we could be doing better? And I bet how many of them would say, like, we need to drop all these scripts, like, what I mean, shit like that, little things. Yeah. Make the tweaks you need to make that you need to make. Nobody's saying that even if WWE didn't go out and make any other cross promotion relations, think of how much better the product would be if it weren't so heavily scripted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, on that note, I will say, and I mentioned it earlier today in our chat. The one thing I'm really happy to see, and I hope that they are able to drag this out a little bit. I love what they're doing with Edge and having him be like, I haven't made my decision yet, but when I do, you'll know. Like, he shows up on Raw, he talks to McIntyre. I'm sure we'll see him on SmackDown, tomorrow night, as we're recording this Thursday. Seeing him on NXT last night and come out and talk to Pete Dunne and talk to Finn Balor and basically both give them the rub and give them put them over, saying like he's like, I see that fire in your guys' eyes and it inspired me, and I loved whenever I love whenever Pete Dunne shrugged his shoulders. This is one of those moments where Edge is just a true master of the craft and a truly a great worker, both in the ring and on the mic. Pete Dunne shrugs his shoulders to go like I don't need your compliments. And Edge is like, yeah, 10 years ago, I would have done the same thing, kid. I would have shrugged my shoulders too. And I was like, oh shit. And then at the very end of the show, like seeing Karrion Kross run across the Edge, I'm like, oh God. I'm like, just all the fantasy booking starts happening. I get all the fucking fantasy booking boners in the world, and I'm like they need to be smart about this and really be careful about who they're gonna book Edge against. So
I'm really interested to hear your take on the WWE branching out, or does Tony Khan complete the gauntlet?
So the answer is no.
To which one?
Yes. To both. So as far as WWE goes, I think it's on their radar. I think that they believe that it could be a problem down the line. But I think that, and Triple H will point this out because he's far more eloquent than Vince is anymore. But he'll say that they're working with Evolve, and he'll say, "Well, we're already doing it. We're bringing people in from Evolve. Look at Austin Theory. We're working with all those major labels over in the UK to bring talent over to NXT UK. We're already moving and shaking in India, so we're already doing that. So they're going to point to the fact that they were doing it first. Whatever." Yes, I guess technically they were, but that's only because they've been stealing talent, not talent sharing.
Yeah, they're farming. They're not. Right. They're not sharing.
Exactly.
And there's a big fucking difference between Evolve and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And they've been doing it. They've been doing it strictly to make themselves look good versus going, "Hey, this is going to make an interesting product."
Exactly.
I'm going to put a pin in that for a minute because I'm going to come back around to that point. But my second point is that right now, Ring of Honor couldn't get much lower than it is. This is not your Ring of Honor that had Samoa Joe and Cesaro and Chris Hero and CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. This is not that. They're not quite as impressive, to be friendly. Do they still have some talent? Yeah. Jonathan Gresham's a hell of a talent. Jay Lethal is one of the best in the world for sure.
Bennett's back there.
Who?
Mike Bennett. I think he's back
Bennett,
there.
Yep. Tavern. So, they got some talent. But I don't think that it would be near the level of, New Japan or even at this point, Impact.
Wow.
So, I don't think Tony Khan has any interest in them because
he's really not wrong.
And it's business, like you said about that poot. Like WWE is in business for themselves. They're not out there trying to make Evolve look good. Like, yes, they've lent some talent to them, but the talent that they've lent back to the Evolve shows always go over. So WWE still looks good.
Right.
This is uncharted waters because it's not like it's a spider web where they can all move freely about the cabin. This is AEW and Impact, and AEW and NWA, and AEW and AAA, and AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. As far as I understand it, this is like separate deals. So AEW is basically the nexus of it, but it's all around.
They're the core.
So
No.
that being said, the other thing you're going to look at here is that AEW does not have the clout that Vince McMahon and WWE go to, where they go, okay, our guys go over. With Impact, it makes sense. Impact doesn't have the ratings that AEW does, so it makes sense for Impact to go, okay, you know what? We'll let you bring your guys over, win some of our belts. We'll lend you some of our guys to your shows, and maybe you'll help our ratings. That makes sense. With AAA, it's a different playing field. Again, like the benefit is getting their name out there. Even NWA, same thing. Like NWA is a prestigious organization. They've been around for a long time, but they've also been out of the public eye for a long time. So this is helping get them back, to the echelon they want to. New Japan, however, is a horse of a different color. They are a viable asset. Definitely in Japan, and they have a growing fan base in America, as evidenced by AEW, 5 guys who were New Japan. So I think that the booking is going to be very interesting between the two shows, because New Japan is very guarded with their talent. Jado and Gato have their ways set. They know what they're going to do probably about a year ahead of time, and they're very protective of how the talent is treated. So I think it's going to be a very interesting feeling out process, but at the end of the day, I think that we're all going to win because of it.
Yeah, for sure. What were you going to say about the Evolve thing that you put a pin in?
That's what I was just about Poot saying that WWE wasn't talent sharing, they were talent stealing. Like, this is a talent share, so the booking is going to be intriguing. Like I said, with Impact, NWA, and AAA, it makes sense for AEW to be, blaring them, be saying, hey, look who we're pulling from these organizations, and that's their benefit. New Japan doesn't need that. So I think that the talent share with AEW and New Japan is going to be more equal parts than we've seen previously.
Two questions since I was late to the party here, in which I will normally be anyways. That's just how my schedule is going to be. Did we already talk anything Royal Rumble wise or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Did you have any strong feelings that you'd like to talk about?
No, I just besides the fact that I thought it was really, really good, like I would definitely give it like a solid A overall. Like I had very little to complain about with the whole Royal Rumble, other than the fact of like, I know the biggest thing anybody will probably critique or bitch about with the Royal Rumble was the whole handcuff spot in the last man standing match. And
we did not talk about that.
And that goes to the benefit. That goes to the benefit of how good the 2 Royal Rumbles were. Yes. That like something that hideously awful happens. That's a terrible look, and we don't even mention it because the 2 Royal Rumbles were that good.
Well, I mean, I was listening to Busted Open. I was listening to Bully Ray and them talk about it, and Bully said he's like, one of those things, like you if you're really truly a fan of pro wrestling and stuff, you got to be able to understand something like that happens in the heat of the moment. You're not thinking like, what do we do? Like, it's just one of those things. Like you didn't have time to think of like what to do. The only thing would have been like, the only thing that they really could have done better would have been had to have like Paul Heyman just get up and sock the second referee, because like just having the referee stop counting was like, what the fuck just happened? I
felt like they chose the worst option that they could have chosen by just having that ref go 6.
And then like move him out of camera and then just stop. Like I get it. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But I guess my point is don't let that take away from how awesome like the other 99.9% of the match was. You know what I mean?
And I don't think we did, because like I said, we didn't even touch on that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it was a hell of a match from start to that point.
Well, the other thing, and really quick, Tom, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like it's the you know, a lot of people will put that on the referee and everything, but the referee has someone in his ear telling him what to do.
Exactly.
There's something that is like literally in that match, aside from an injury, worst case scenario happened. Like that was worst case scenario. So they were handling it on the fly, which is always hard when you have to improv. But let's not put just the impetus on the people backstage telling the ref what to do and the ref. Let's also put it on the performers. It was miscommunication across the board. It literally was just like the perfect storm of something to happen that went wrong that no individual had a solution for in that moment. Because because you know, Paul Heyman could have done something, but he was trying to unlock it. He could have handed the key to Roman Reigns and said, hey, make this work while I go handle this. Roman Reigns could have, you know, cued Heyman and told him what to do. You know, Kevin Owens could have come over and broken up what was going on with, you know, he could have put some boots to Roman and then, you know, manhandled Paul Heyman a little bit to break up the count to cause a reason. So like it's a lot of things that there were a lot of people who could have solved the problem and didn't. So it was just one of those things.
And it's hindsight's always 2020. So, you know, if they find themselves in a situation, hopefully they can improve on that again. But I will say, to their credit, Corey Graves, as he always does, covers up so well on the commentary, because he said, well, you know, technically Roman got to a squatting position, so technically he was on his feet. Hey, you know what? Like, that was their reasoning for covering. You know, that was the reason for stopping the count. That's the best they could do in that moment. All right, you know what? It happened. You can't change what happened, you know, so just, I would say to anybody who hasn't watched it yet, or anybody that did watch it, and if they really have to bellyache and bitch about that particular spot, don't let it take away from the other 99.9% of the match. And then just the rest of the card in general was really good. I mean, I didn't see the pre-show match, the women's tag. I didn't see that.
It was okay.
I would have knowing that Lacey Evans, you know, cost Charlotte and Asuka their tag titles earlier on in the pre-show. I would have liked to seen more, you know, more kerfuffle and more dust up between the two of them in the Rumble itself. Yeah, I would have liked to seen them, you know, shake it up a little bit more in the Rumble with you know, between those two, but. Because it feels like they really didn't touch up a whole lot in the women's Rumble match, but overall I loved it. I was a real big fan of it, so that was the only reason I asked if we had touched on that. My second thing, and I don't know if Beef touched on this since I walked in right in the middle of like this AEW talk. Did we talk about the Sinister Minister and those eyebrows on fleek?
We did not. Wow. Real quick, I want to mention BT Dubs. Do you guys know that they are legally married? Like Penelope and Kip are. They legit went to a courthouse, did the paperwork like 2 days prior.
Yep.
But they wanted their actual wedding ceremony to be on Dynamite, so that was a legit wedding.
Dude, how bad must you feel for Joey Janela?
I know, right?
Well, you can't get You cannot get kicked in the crotch harder. Like you sign on with this with this great company, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna be a big cog in it. You got this smoking hot girlfriend, and then everything just falls apart. Suddenly, you're not being used at all on TV. Suddenly, she's with the other guy that's on TV, and you're like, fuck, what happened to my life?
You find yourself in the corner with Sunny Kiss, and you're just like, I don't know what went wrong.
Dude, and the thing that, like, all that aside, it's also you're being used as victory fodder for other people. And I think a lot of that might be, and by all accounts, Joey Janela, as talented as he is, apparently he is kind of like a lazy shit dick. Like, you know, and no offense, you know, if this ever reaches Joey Janela's ears, I love you, Joey. And I like his work, and he's a great worker. He's, like I said, he's highly talented. It's just, from all accounts, he kind of is his gimmick. You know what I mean? He's you know, I mean, what was one of the biggest news stories with him in recent memory was whenever he got into that little little tussle with old Enzo? Enzo. I was trying to think of a funny thing for him, but you know what? Nah, Enzo just works. When he got in that tussle with Enzo, like that was it. Like, and the other thing is too, it wasn't like, yeah, Joey Janela, get him. It was like, wow, really? You're gonna okay. And so like that's the problem, is that like he lives his gimmick apparently. So like that's part of the problem. Like, I mean, maybe you need to kind of reinvent yourself. Maybe you need to take yourself more seriously, tone up a little bit. I don't know. Like, but all those things, beef laid out, that is the kickingest in the dick that anyone's been kicked into the dick.
Oh, yeah.
But it is good to see the Sinister Minister, if I could talk tonight, doing well. I've always appreciated his gimmick. And I loved, I think it was Excalibur and Tony, or it may have been Tony and JR, I don't remember. But they were like, well, let's touch on this officiant in the ring, this sinister-looking gentleman. And then the other one said, "Oh, yes, you mean the minister in the ring." I was like, "That's fucking clutch!" Like that was
good. That was
stuff.
good dancing around. We lost Ransom.
We did.
Oh, no.
Raggy. We'll get him back. We'll get him back.
Yeah.
We'll get him back.
So, I was
there. He is.
So I think it is time for everybody's favorite portion of the show, where we get to dust off the old cleats and show that we still got it. Boys, you ready for some Stump the Champs?
Where's the clitoris?
Cleats?
If you have to ask, you'll never know.
This is off the rails quickly. So we have a question from our boy, the Midcar Maniac.
Yeah, Maniac.
Maniac says, and there's no intro. This is how I can tell.
Wait, I just thought of something. Can we, instead of calling him the Maniac, can we call him the Bastard Pat?
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
He is a bastard. Pat. This is how I know that we have like drilled deep down into the Maniac psyche, and we're just starting to get to him, because normally he starts off his questions with a little like paragraph intro saying, "Oh, good job last time," or "Oh, so I hated so-and-so," or this, that, and nothing. Nothing. It's just a question this time.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Name each person. Oh, boy. Name each person who was champion in WCW when Vince Russo stripped everyone of their titles. That's 6 different championships. Good luck.
What? Oh, fuck.
When did he first go to WCW? Can we narrow down a time frame?
So this was at, I want to say it was a pay-per-view, and it was one of their new generation pay-per-views. So it was like Greed or Sin or,
Lord.
Oh boy, this might be the one.
Bastion Booger.
So this would have been with the new generation feel that WCW tried to do, with like the Fat Chick Thriller, Mike Awesome, Above Average, Mike Sanders, Sean O'Hare. All right, so notable champions of that time frame. I want to say that Hogan was one of them.
Okay, now
I think he was the world champion. I'm not 100%, because that's what started the whole FUBAR thing that he was wearing on the back of his vest. Fuck you, Bischoff and Russo.
Well, wouldn't that have also been what led to the one of the finger pokes of doom, or no, not the finger pokes of doom. Wouldn't that have been what led to him just laying down for Jarrett?
Nope, that was a different night altogether. This was like a complete reboot where they're like, "All right, we're rebooting now." Fuck. All right. Lance Storm was big in that day, and I know that he held a lot of the titles at the same time. The Cruiserweight Champion, Hardcore Championship, and the United States Championship. I'm not saying that he was the champion when this happened, but I'm saying I know for a fact that he held those titles together at one point.
Now, are you sure this was a pay-per-view and not a Nitro?
I thought it was on a Nitro because didn't he call the entire roster out there?
It could well have been a Nitro. Like the championships could have culminated at one of those new pay-per-views, Greed or Sin or whatever the hell they are.
Oh, right, okay. But the stripping
may have happened on a Nitro.
Yeah, okay.
I really want to say that the old guard factors in heavily. So I'm thinking that at least Hogan, maybe the Outsiders may have been champions. I could be wrong on that.
Would the old guard have included Jarrett? Because didn't Vince Russo and Jarrett's time there overlap whenever Jarrett was like the big champ in the NWO 2000 or whatever?
Yep. He was the chosen one. By Russo. Yep.
Well, I feel like at that time, I feel like one of the easiest ones to figure out might be the tag champions, because wouldn't it have been like Chronic or the what were they called, the Impact, not the Impact players, what were they called, the that stable? It was like, it was who I mentioned previously, above average, Mike Sanders, Sean O'Hare. Yeah, what was that group called?
Those guys. Natural Born Thrillers.
So I think Natural Born Thrillers or Chronic.
I don't think Natural Born Thrillers have been tag team champions yet, because I think that Russo was like, hey, here are all these new guys, let's give them an even playing field, and I think that this was why that happened. So Chronic may not be a bad choice on that,
because those are the only ones I remember. Like, I don't remember WCW the way Ransom does. Like, I don't remember the old stuff. I remember when Nitro was super hot, and I also remember the Death Rattle era. Like,
well, and I think that this is probably just outside of Ransom's purview. Yeah. I think that Ransom probably stopped caring about Nitro and WCW by the time that Russo showed up. If I'm mistaken, feel free to tell me, but I bet that's probably the case.
I'm hazy around that area. I don't think I was completely checked out, but hazy. We might be able to slip by on this one.
So we're gonna tentatively, let's say Hogan as the world champion.
Hogan or Booker T? I think it was definitely one of those two.
I'm gonna say probably Hogan.
I would have said Booker T of the two, but that, again, don't take my word for law. I just feel like that was whenever Hogan was around at that time.
Yes. Yep, because like I said, he came out with that like plain black jacket plain black vest that just had the big white letters FUBAR on the back, and it was FU Bischoff and Russo.
Oh.
So we need all the different champions. So there would have been
maybe
world champion.
So the titles, yes. Let's figure out the titles first.
TV title, cruiserweight title.
Hold on, let me write this shit down. Take it easy. Johnny McJumper over here.
What?
All right, so top.
Jumper.
You heard me. Top down.
World Championship.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
TV.
Yep.
United States.
Yep.
Cruiserweight.
Yep.
Tag.
Yep.
Women's.
Hardcore.
Oh. Hardcore. Ernest the Cat Miller.
Now, hold on.
What?
Because there was a women's champion, and
but was it at that time frame?
That would be 7.
No, because the women's title, I feel like they just kind of like just
that petered out.
Remember, hold on, it petered out. Remember, this is one of the things that we kind of talked about.
There wasn't a women's title.
Hold on. Remember whenever you and I had our collar elbow tie up episode where we talked about WCW during its heyday in Nitro versus the Attitude Era, which if nobody else has listened to already, go back and find that fucking gem of a discussion. The women's title, they literally did something with it like for a year, and then it was just like gone. That was it. They didn't do anything. So I'm going to say the women's title was not a part of this that we need listed. I'm going to say the hardcore is.
Would agree.
Okay.
I would say Ernest the Cat Miller for the hardcore. Because wasn't he in? He was deep in that.
He was. I just feel like Storm was holding the 3 belts at the time. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I love that gimmick. Gosh, I don't know, man.
But could it also make sense that maybe that was also a way to get those belts off of him without having to...
That's what I was thinking, is that and that's so here's the question. We know that the bastard Pat likes to have his questions worded very specifically.
Yes.
Name each person who was champion in WCW when Vince Russo stripped the titles. There will be 6 different championships.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So he doesn't want the championships. He just wants the people.
Exactly.
Yep. So that doesn't mean that there's 6 different people. So I'm inclined to believe beef on this, and I'd be willing to stake my seat on it if Maniac dethrones one of us off the show for a week.
Say the question again, Beef.
I gotta bring it back up. Name each person who was Name each person who was champion in WCW when Vince Russo stripped everyone of their titles. There will be 6 different championships. Good luck.
So there could have been double champions.
Yep.
Or triple. I'll be honest, I have no fucking clue where the TV title would have fit in any of this. At best, I can guess Hogan, Booker, or Nash for the world, Lance for the 3, and Outsiders or Chronic for the tag team. But the television title, fuck all. I have no fucking clue.
Okay, so let's do this. What 3 would Lance Storm have had? He would have had what?
The US, the Cruiserweight, and the Hardcore.
Okay. Let's say that. Just because I have a feeling there's some trickery afoot.
Because the U.S. title was the Canadian title, the Cruiserweight title was like the 15 kilo title or whatever, and the Hardcore was like the Saskatchewan Hardcore title. So shit.
The Saskatchewan toe spin. The Moss covered 3. I can't even. I you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that.
Armbar.
The Saskatchewan nerve hold. Armbar. I'm gonna say probably Lance Storm. Because not saying that it's necessarily that Vince Russo did this specifically targeting Lance Storm, but it would have also been an easy out. Even like for whatever his reasoning wanting to reset everything just because fuck you and I can. Like that would have been an easy out there and been like, well, that's one problem solved. That's one less thing we don't have to worry about. So, and I feel like Russo would have taken that fucking easy way.
And if I'm remembering correctly, Vince Russo was like an advocate of the natural born thrillers. So like he was in on all of those young guys. I keep thinking that it was O'Hare, but it wasn't O'Hare. I forget who Jindrak's partner was in WCW, but or not Jindrak, O'Hare and somebody else in WCW. But I think he was like an advocate for them. So like, yes, I think that you're right that getting those titles off of Lance was like a secondary thing. But I think the primary reason was to fuck with the world champion, who I gotta believe, like I said, was either Hogan, Booker, or Nash. And again, I don't know why I'm leaning towards Hogan, but I just think that it may have been Hogan.
I'm with you on that. I'm gonna say Hogan for the world. I'm gonna say Lance Storm having the U.S. Cruiserweight and Hardcore.
I honestly, and I like Poot's pick of Chronic, but I don't think Chronic was big at that time.
I thought they were.
Well, let's remember that Chronic came back. Chronic was part of like the new breed, and Chronic was the champions whenever there was the alliance.
The Filthy Animals, then.
Oh, the Filthy Animals may have been it. I don't know, man. Like I just feel like Russo did this as like a fuck you to the NWO. So I feel like Hall, Nash, and Hogan were all 100% like affected by it. That's why I was thinking it was Hogan as the world champion and the Outsiders as the tag team champions. And again, I don't have any. I can't say that with any concrete conviction, but like I said, when Russo came over and they did this, Bischoff was kind of like the advocate for the old guys, for the NWO. Russo was kind of the guy, for the new guys until Russo and Bischoff joined together to screw over the old talent. Ransom, what do you think? You're being too quiet on all this.
I'm just listening to you guys talk, and I'm just trying to think of.
But literally,
what the hell was all going on.
No fucking clue who his TV champion was. I have maybe Mike Awesome. I don't know. Maybe Hugh Morris. That name rings a bell for the.
What about
TV.
Disco Inferno?
He was champion a bunch as a TV champion, but I want to say it was towards the earlier Nitros, not the later.
Okay.
I think Poot might be closest with the Filthy Animals. Oh, God. Were they still around at this point? I think that they were.
I'm pretty sure they were. That's the thing. This is
because
so
Ray
murky.
Booker,
This is so murky.
Ray and Booker were like the or no, not Booker. I'm thinking of fucking huge erection and GI Bro and fucking Lash LaRue as the fucking Major Guns. I forget what their name was. But I think the Filthy Animals may have been past it at that point, because I think Mysterio was in WWE at that point, and he was a linchpin for the Filthy Animals.
You know what? For some reason, I want to believe Poot on it whenever he said Chronic. I don't know. It feels right. I don't know. So I'd say Hogan as the world champ, Chronic as the tag, Lance Storm having the other three, and then television title. I don't know. I was just stabbing the dark. I would say Disco Inferno.
The TV champ is the biggest Hail Mary that I have, because I literally have no fucking clue. I know Mike Sanders, I think he was a TV champion at one point, but obviously Russo wouldn't dick him over. I think that would have been after. I think same with Mike Awesome. Awesome would have been TV champion after. Oh, God. I'm trying to think of other names that would have been in like the TV championship ranks.
Could Goldberg be one of them?
No, Goldberg was only U.S. and world champion.
Is there ever a time where the TV title wasn't a thing in WCW? Is it possible there was no TV title at this time?
It's quite possible. Because I'll be honest, I don't remember it post like that era.
Well, he said that there were 6 different titles. So maybe he stripped whoever of the TV title, and then it was just not a thing afterwards.
Rance, were you thinking that it was a women's title then?
No.
Because, yeah, that would be the 6th title, would be the TV title. All right, so I feel like this period was like a very harsh stop. They were doing something that was never before done. and that's what ruffled up a lot of the talent. I feel like, and again, I could be wrong, but I think that the TV title may have laid within that that group that I was talking about earlier, with Major Erection and G.I. Bro and Lash LaRue. I think it may have been Booker T as G.I. Bro as TV champion. Again, I have zero certainty on that, but I just have this feeling that it was one of those two.
All right, so here's my take on it.
Okay.
I don't think Booker T was involved with the championship at this time. I don't think Jarrett had yet won the big gold belt at this time.
Yes, he would have. This because this was after the NWO 2000.
Was it?
If my timeline is correct.
I don't know the inception of NWO 2000, but what I'm thinking happened was that this was early 2000s. This would have been like first quarter, maybe, of 2000, and I don't know when the NWO 2000 came about. Oh, pardon me.
I think the NWO 2000 was early 2000, maybe even like back half of 99.
Okay.
And because I distinctly remember going through the Chosen One stuff when things were semi-normal at Nitro. And then, like, when this happened, I remember everything just kind of hit the fan. Like, at one point, Kevin Nash turned on some people to align with Russo and Bischoff. At one point, Russo won the title, and that was at a War Games. At one point, Russo won the title. That's when they like basically said goodbye to most of their pay-per-views, and they came up with all these new ones. That's when they changed this logo. So that's like, I remember the Chosen One gimmick with Jeff Jarrett before all of that. This was kind of like the jilting turning point of all of that. I'm not saying Jarrett wasn't involved. I just think that the whole Chosen One world title thing would have been prior to this. But I think you're right that this probably happened in the back half of 2000.
I think this happened in the early part of 2000. Is that what you mean?
Oh, okay. That could be as well. I just don't know.
We gotta pull the trigger on something. Unless we want to tap out. We could always tap out to the bastard.
No, I don't want to tap out to this. This is F him and his dumb, stupid questions. So I all right, so this is me doing the stupidity that I do here. I think Jarrett was the United States champion at this point. Okay. I feel like when I try to think back on this, I can remember a group of people in the ring. I can remember Russo coming down. I can remember Bischoff coming down. I think Jarrett had that United States title. Because if I'm remembering correctly, oh Lord help me, Jarrett and the Harris brothers handed over their titles right quick. Like in this segment. Jarrett handed over his United States. The Harris brothers handed over their tag titles.
The minute that you say that, I pictured in my head, so that means it probably must have happened.
So, and this is another one of those goofy things that I can remember from this. I give full credit to the Bruce Pritchard podcast because I can remember on that show, Pritchard and the other dude, I can't remember his name, talking about this segment and Eric Bischoff making reference to Sid Vicious stabbing Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors.
Okay, like random, but
at one point, somewhere back in the early days, Sid Vicious legit stabbed Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors, and Eric Bischoff making an open-handed or whatever, backhanded comment about that or reference to that in the ring at this point, confronting Sid Vicious, which leads me to believe that if Jarrett was the United States champion, that Sid Vicious was the WCW champion.
Ooh.
I believe it.
So that's Vicious, Jarrett, the Harris brothers. Now,
Billy Kidman
no, this
for Cruiser.
no, because Kidman, I think in that same night, I think Kidman wound up facing frickin' Hogan for some ungodly reason in that show.
I think you're right.
And I don't remember Kidman having the title. I think Duggan was one of the champions.
Really?
Yeah, was Duggan the
Probably TV.
television
He would have been the
champion?
TV.
Now, the hardcore and
Cruiserweight.
the cruiserweight are where I'm hazy.
What?
Was Mike not Mike Knox.
Mike Awesome.
Mike Knox? No, not Mike Awesome. Was Mike Knox in WCW? No, was he a hardcore champion in WWE?
No.
No.
Mike Knox was like with Nessie and that.
Okay, so it wasn't him then.
Mike Sanders? Above average?
No,
Okay.
no.
Colonel Sanders?
Yeah, the chicken guy. Hang on. Just give me a second here. Who did I say? Vicious, Jarrett, Harris's, Duggan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two more.
Is this maybe something that Hardcore Hack would have been there for, which was the Sandman from ECW?
No,
Okay.
I don't think he was in it.
What a dumb fucking name, by the way, Hardcore Hack.
Yeah, that was a stupid name. Brian, was he one of the tables guys, the guys that had the tables? No. Who are the guys that came down with the table and always did the dance? And
Public Enemy.
Yeah.
No.
Who was in that group?
Flyboy Rocco Rock and
Marco Stunt.
No.
No.
don't
Yeah.
say it.
No,
Flyboy-
okay, so it wasn't either one of those two. Brian Knobs?
Oh,
Oh,
the Nasty
fuck!
Boys.
You are so right. I think it was fucking Knobs.
Was he one of the Nasty Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Knobbs. Yep.
Would he have been around at this point?
Yes, he would have, and I think he was a hardcore champion.
Was it him or was it the other one?
Knobs, no, Knobs was the blonde-haired one. Sags was the dark-haired one.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. Yep. Knobs.
So not okay.
Knobs, I think, rings bell. So then we would only be looking at cruiserweight then.
Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright.
No, that was way too.
No,
late
he
for
was
him.
Berlin at that point.
I was gonna say he may have been Berlin
he
at
was
that point.
Berlin. Cheeky baka boogie. Wasn't there somebody that ripped off like a Prince thing? There was a cruiserweight guy there.
Yeah. Prince Ikea.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Didn't he go by like the artist formerly known as
Yes, I believe
Yep.
so.
somebody?
Yep.
Would he have
Is
been
that-
in the cruiserweight title hunt at that point?
Yes,
Or
he
title
would have
picture?
been. Yep.
Good golly. So is that it?
Yeah,
That
if
should
we're
be
saying Prince Ikea or fucking the artist formerly known thereof or whatever we want to call him.
Yeah.
So then, running it back, Ransom, you got a fucking beautiful mind, man. That was something to behold.
Mm.
Stupid WCW trivias.
Um,
That's his wheelhouse.
Top down, we have Sid as the world champion, Duggan as TV, Jarrett as US, Prince Iakea, or the artist formerly known as Prince Iakea, as cruiserweight, Harris Brothers as tag team, and Brian Knobbs as hardcore.
And we want to go with him and not the other one, not Sags?
No, it was no.
You know, do you have an inclination that it was Sags?
I don't know, but I can't for the life of me remember like which one of those two had the better like singles run when it happened.
I mean,
Knobbs.
I don't think either of them did,
Knobbs.
but I mean, I think Knobbs is more relevant at that point.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right,
Maniac, you're gonna have a good time on the show.
Yeah, probably. Some of these are out there.
You should send an example of mine or Vapor Stump the Chumps to Zack Snyder so he understands how this works. Listen to the big balls on Maniac. I love it.
Yeah,
Champions
Pat.
work. Oh my
That
God!
bastard.
I just saw one, and I know it's. I know we're gonna get it. The artist, Prince Iakea.
Get
That's
the fuck
cruiserweight.
out of here.
Brian, he said nose, but I know he means knobs as hardcore. TV, Jim Duggan. Tag, the Harris Brothers. US, Jeff Jarrett. WCW, Sid Vicious.
What the actual fuck? Oh
Get
my
real close
god.
to your microphone when you say it, dude. Get real close.
Real close.
Maniac, you tried your hardest, my brother. You did a great job, and we love these questions. But today, you lose, sir. You get nothing.
Wow.
Oh, boys.
Oh, my God.
Lord.
Ransom. You like channel somebody when you do that?
It's these WCW questions. I have watched more WCW stuff than I have any business watching.
Oh my
You just
God.
let us. You just let us crumble fuck around for 20 minutes, and Ransom's like, "Nope, I got it. Watch this."
Jesus.
Oh my
Guys, okay, listen. I don't think we can top that. And
No.
hold on. I feel like this bears us doing this since Maniac had that bastard Pat had his answer with balls. So I'll go first, then Tom, then Ransom. Ready? You lose, sir.
You get nothing.
What's my line?
That's a good
Whatever
question.
you want. It was supposed to be you lose, sir, but Tom broke it.
You are the weakest link.
Go-
Goodbye.
Oh, thank you very much for the question there, the bastard Pat. We really appreciate that. And keep sending in your questions. Beef, really quick before I do my big long spiel outro and thank all the sponsors and that. You want to tell people how they can send in their Stump the Champs, Stump the Champs still. Tell them where they can do that.
You mean something the reigning defending champs? Well, yes, Poot. I would love to. We have a wonderful email where you can communicate with us on all things wrestling, not just Stump the Champs, but we do enjoy your Stump the Champs questions. Please send them on over to pittsburghpiledriverpodcast at gmail.com. 2 emails, please. 1 email with the question, the second email with the answer, and the answer email. Be sure to put some text in there and then put some spaces so that I don't get it ruined for me. If I see your answer, you are disqualified, and you will also lose and get nothing.
All right, so please do that. Try and knock us off our pedestals. It's coming. It's coming. Sure as shit. One day someone will get us.
This was it. I thought this was it.
Listen, I have all the faith in us, especially Ransom when it comes to WCW. But guys, one day someone will get us. But that day is not today. Okay? And it's not this episode. Thank you all very much for listening to the P3 podcast. We really appreciate it. You make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go on YouTube, search Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. That's Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast or the P3 podcast. You can find us. Just hit that little subscribe notification bell. And make sure you leave a comment or whatever you like to do. We have it there. Also, you can find this podcast anywhere at any of the purveyors of quality podcasts. That's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and of course on Anchor.fm. That's our little hub for everything. Want to thank our sponsors, Mr. Tiger,
Uppercut,
Bomb Tom, and his page Casual Gaming Dad over on Facebook, and Casual Gaming Dad's Corner, the little community you can join. It's not even so little. It keeps growing and growing and growing. Tom plays a lot of really great games. You can watch him rage, you can watch him laugh, you can watch him be awesome at games, and not by fault of his own, bad at bad video games. But who's good at bad video games? People who are they're sadists or masochists or whatever the thing would be. You can also find him on YouTube and Twitch. That's Casual Gaming Dad and Casual Gaming Dad 84. Make sure you follow him and subscribe to him on there as well. Oh, by the way, his page, Casual Gaming Dad on Facebook, give it a like while you stop by, okay? And we want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler and his work with the independent wrestling scene in the central Pennsylvania area. That's IWC. Looking forward to more shows as things hopefully start to clear up in the next couple months. Again, thank you very much for listening to us. And Maniac, I'm sorry, not Maniac, that bastard Pat, you tried your best this week, man, but we are the best champions anywhere. We're the best champions in Canada. We're the best champions in Cambodia. We're the best champions in Japan. We're the best champions anywhere at all, especially in North America. Okay? So there you go. Well, you thought it was coming. You thought I was going to say North Carolina. Well, I didn't this week. So there you go. Thank you to my co-hosts for this podcast as well. There's Mr. Beef the Legend, Mr. Alec Ransom, myself, Poot the Bard, baby, and your reigning, defending,
undefeated,
undisputed.
Oh,
don't be salty.
Listen, the more sassy you get and the more blustery you get, the better it's going to be when you lose that championship to anybody. Mr. Tiger,
Uppercut,
Bomb Tom, thank you all for listening to us. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, whenever you listen to us. Goodbye.
mother.
Fucker.